Leadership is a journey. Leadership is about learning along the way. It's about listening to understand. And it's about engaging in the moment no matter what role you might have.
Well, my approach to leadership is one that is always collaborative. I grew up as the second oldest of 8 kids, and so I was just naturally always put in charge with my older sister. And so it was my job to make sure that everybody was together in whatever it was that I did or was asked to do. And it's the same at work, that we are collaborative because there isn't anything that gets done that doesn't take a whole bunch of people and a whole team of people to get the job accomplished. Well, I am Josie Abboud, and I am the President and CEO of Methodist Hospital and Methodist Women's Hospital. Methodist Hospital and Methodist Women's Hospital are 2 fantastic hospital organizations that are part of Methodist Health System. We have 2 other sister facilities, hospitals, one in Fremont, Nebraska, Methodist Fremont Health, and one in Council Bluffs, Iowa, Methodist Jenny Edmondson Hospital. So leadership is so important in the healthcare arena because we take care of patients at such a vulnerable time in their lives. Sometimes they're having something diagnosed and explored, and it's a curveball for them. And so it's important that our team members at Methodist really know how to respond to that. We want them to see our confidence. We want them to feel our compassion. We want them to see that all of our collaboration is really focused on just them. And then part of the creativity that we have at Methodist is really individualizing care plans and the way that we take care of them and take care of their family. And again, to sum it all up, that is what we call the meaning of care at Methodist. You can't do anything in healthcare without each other, so we have to collaborate together. And when I say that, it's not even only within our own institution. We worked with our competitor health systems in this marketplace. When you talk about a pandemic, you're not talking about competition anymore. This is we're all in it together for our community. We had to be creative in our solutions. There were lots of questions being asked that we actually didn't even know the answers. We would learn from our counterparts who were experiencing the pandemic earlier than we were experiencing, so we would learn from that. And I remember there was one point during the pandemic when the positivity rate in our community was really high. And so when it's high in your community, it means it's also high in your facility. So at the same time that you would hear about a lot of people that were sick in your community, we had a lot of our own staff that were sick. It's really remarkable when you think about how different areas were willing to work in another area, even though they hadn't worked in that area before. Or even we had nurses that were from our Methodist Physicians Clinic organization. So they're normally nurses that were used to working in the outpatient setting, volunteer to work in our hospital. That meant a lot because when you're creative, you can come up with solutions that really fit the organization, fit patient care, which means it fits our community. When you have a crisis that hits, people are afraid. But as a leader, your entire leadership team has to exhibit the confidence that together we're going to get through this. And quite frankly, that is how we handled a lot through the pandemic. Because even though you don't have all the answers, you make the best decisions that you can at the time with the information that you have. And then you have to be confident with everyone that we'll get through it together. And then at the end of the day, one of my favorite C's of all of the ICAN C's, and when you talk about just leadership principles, is compassion. Because when you're afraid, when you're not sure, when you're faced with a challenge, you've got to have some compassion for those that are dealing with it. And the pandemic was such an interesting event. It hit us definitely in healthcare, but it hit every single one of us in our personal lives. I think when you look at, what really makes a difference, compassion was huge for us in this past 12 months, 18 months throughout the pandemic. And again, when you put it all together, you realize together with all of the C's, the pandemic was a great example of how Methodist weathered the storm. It's really the people at Methodist that have given me the opportunity to show and exhibit all of the C's that make up the ICAN Leadership Award. Collaboration, creativity, confidence, and compassion. I wouldn't be here today as a recipient of the ICAN Leadership Award had it not been for Methodist. So while again it has my name on it, I'd love to see Methodist Hospital's name on that too.